Models 2 B1 Grammar. Objective: to learn modals by comparing school life and present life of a busy manager.
The first modals are could and was able to, which are used to talk about an ability in the past. Example: the manager. He says, I can't play football. That's now. But in the past, he could play football. So he says, I could play football.
The next model is couldn't and wasn't able to. We just saw could and was able to. Now let's look at the negative. The manager. His school in Madrid. When he was a student, what did he do? Couldn't or wasn't able to. The manager, what did he do? He went to a school in Madrid. So, he says, I wasn't able to speak English, or I couldn't speak English because he learnt everything in Spanish. We learnt about could and couldn't and was and wasn't able to. Now we will look at one event we use was able to. That means when we talk about yesterday or maybe one time event, we use was able to. Let's see. The school in Madrid. So we have a student. For one event, one time event, we shouldn't use could. We can only say, I was able to come to class yesterday. We are talking about one time event, just one day, and not a regular event. So, we can't say, I could come to class yesterday. This we saw could and couldn't, was and wasn't able to, and then was able to for one event. We are now going to look at had to and couldn't. Had to is something which we had to do in the past, an obligation in the past, which was necessary in the past. The manager, when he was a student, he says, I had to do homework. So in the past, he had to do homework. He didn't have any choice. In school, mobile phones, are they allowed? So he says, I couldn't bring mobiles to class. In his class, in his school. Same meaning, I wasn't allowed to bring mobiles to class. Next, we're going to look at needed to and didn't have to. The next model, needed to and had to, a past obligation, something necessary in the past. The manager, when he was a student, he says, I needed to pass all my subjects. He had no choice. It was necessary. Same meaning, I had to pass all my subjects. Next, we are going to look at didn't have to. We just finished needed to. Now we are going to look at didn't have to or didn't need to, which are used to talk about something which wasn't necessary in the past. The manager, when he was a student, so he says, I didn't need to wear uniform. which means there was no uniform in his school, so he was lucky. Same meaning, I didn't have to wear uniform. Make sure after didn't we have used have to. Now we will look at should have. We just finished didn't need to or didn't have to. Now we are going to look at should have with verb 3 or past participle to talk about something which was necessary in the past but you did not do it. Let's say school. The manager talks about his school. Oh, he's crying. Why? Oh, he's crying. Can you say why he's crying? Now, we are going to look at should have with verb 3, that's past participle, to talk about which was something necessary in the past, but you did not do it. So he's crying because something he didn't do it. What he didn't do. The manager is thinking about his school. Yes, the grades. So he says, I didn't get good grades. I should have studied well, which means I should not have slept in class. We just finished should have with past participle or verb 3, which we use for something necessary in the past, but you didn't do it. Now we are going to look at ought to have and need to have, which also talks about a similar meaning. Ought to have, need to have with verb 3 or past participle. The manager thinking about his about his school life. What did he do? Sleeping? Did he get good grades? So he's thinking now, I didn't get good grades. Why? Reason, I ought to have studied well. But did he study well? No, he was sleeping. Same meaning, I needn't have slept in class. Instead, I should have studied. That means I needed to have listened in class to the teachers, which he did not do it. So in this lesson, we covered models of ability to talk, which were could and able to, had to, needed to, didn't have to, should have, ought to have, and need to have.